The world's most comfortable shoes are made of wool. Even Tab Magazine said so. The Wool Runner is your go-to lace-up shoe for everywhere you go. Flexible, supportive, and light as a feather, they take you seamlessly through your entire day. The Wool Lounger, it's a breathable, lightweight, slip-on shoe that's perfect for everything from a red-eye trip across the country or your favorite sport event. Comfort, style, and sustainability do not have to be mutually exclusive. Allbirds is dedicated to making stylish, comfortable footwear using premium natural materials designed for life's everyday adventures. Less is more, which is why Allbirds doesn't include any unnecessary logos or detailing. Instead, Allbirds designs the simplest, most comfortable shoe they could using premium sustainable materials without the premium price. Allbirds textile is made from superfine New Zealand merino wool using fibers that are 20% the diameter of a human hair. Think about that. So unlike the wool you may be used to, Allbirds breathable fabric regulates temperature and moisture without any itch. Allbirds merino wool is ZQ certified. That means it meets the stringent standards of sustainable farming and animal welfare. In other words, no sheep were harmed in the making of these shoes. With the holidays right around the corner, it's time to consider Allbirds as a gift for someone on your list or just for yourself. They're available in a variety of new colors. You can find the perfect pair for you at allbirds.com.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I am David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do?
We give the people what they want.
Let's give the people what they want right now. That hum you hear in the background is the background of Jalen Rose courtside. However, last night, the Boston Celtics, without Isaiah Thomas, beat the Cleveland Cavaliers at the buzzer. LeBron James did not play well. What happened in that game to the Cavaliers?
First and foremost, I want to make this about the resiliency and the toughness of the Boston Celtics. Playing without their all-star Isaiah Thomas, they're trailing 2-0 in this series. Go to Cleveland, the largest underdog to win in NBA playoff history. On the road, it was phenomenal. Marcus Smart was terrific, made 7 threes, brought toughness on both ends of the floor. Avery Bradley, as we saw, made the game-winning shot. Al Horford was solid as usual.
Jerebko.
The thing I want to also point out is Brad Stevens, whether it's baseline or sideline out-of-bounds plays, in particular after timeouts, he's one of the best in the league, and not only getting an open shot, but actually getting a shot in the bucket, because a few times late in the game, when they called timeout, went to Al Horford late, got a bucket. Another play with Avery Bradley, penetrated the middle, kicked it out to Jerebko, got a bucket. And last but not least, the huge three-point shot to win the game.
Can someone tell J.R. Smith that he is guarding Avery Bradley because he ran and guarded the wrong person at the last second of the game?
I live out there, so don't go there. I'm glad you brought that up. Because with Marcus Smart in the starting lineup, instead of the Cavs having a focus of attacking Isaiah Thomas defensively, now you have stout defenders for the Celtics 1 through 4. So what did the Celtics do? They attacked Kyrie Irving. And whoever he was guarding, whether it's Marcus Smart, whether it's Avery Bradley, and you know the last play that you're talking about? You know why it was J.R. Smith in the action along with Iman Shumpert? Because they were hiding Kyrie Irving on Jerebko. And so that's where it starts, number one. Number two, yes, J.R. Smith messed up on the rotation. Before you know it, Al Horford did a terrific job of setting a late game screen. Avery Bradley did the most important thing, step up, knock down a game-winning three-point shot.
I'm glad you called it a late game screen, because while it was illegal, you cannot make that call on that play, but it was certainly not a legal screen. But I think that Horford was just confused because he was going to set a screen on Avery Bradley's man, but Avery Bradley's man didn't exist, so he's decided to push Tristan Thompson out of the way. That's really what happened.
I played with Reggie Miller. and he used to always talk about this. Look at some footage in 1998 where Reggie gets a down screen. He comes up, Michael Jordan thinks he's going to switch on Reggie, and he pushes him out of the way with both hands. He runs toward the wing. He makes the game-winning shot. And you look, the camera pans to Larry Bird. He has ice water in his veins. While the entire world is going crazy in a frenzy, Larry thinking like the game ain't over and they got Michael Jordan. I've seen this movie happen a lot of times. So that's why I called it a late game screen. You can't call that, and they didn't.
One thing that we haven't discussed yet is the fact that LeBron James did not have a very LeBron James-like night. He only scored 11 points. He was held scoreless in the fourth quarter. What happened to LeBron James?
A lack of aggression, and you got to give the Celtics a terrific amount of credit for defending LeBron. He only had 1 point basically the last 18 minutes of the game. And a couple of things got highlighted from that loss that we can watch looking forward. One, when the game is close, the last 4 minutes of the game, the Cavs are exclusively going to Kyrie Irving. That's a really good thing. One of the best finishers in the league, finishes with both hands at the hoop, jumps off both legs. But what's the strength of his game? Isolation basketball. And they do a lot of that late in games where the defense all of a sudden can load up, help one another, and force you into one shot. Two, LeBron James is a poor free throw shooter. If you haven't been paying attention, LeBron changes his free throw routine more than he changes his hairline, depending on what time of day it is. Can't have consistency when doing that. And lastly, you saw the late game mishap defensively. They have to do a better job of communicating when the game is close, getting no stops.
After the game, LeBron was understandably a little salty. I mean, before he got into it with a reporter in the press room a little bit, he got into it with a fan who was questioning his performance that evening, a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. LeBron responded by asking, what has he ever done? And then this fan was heard shouting his stats from Harem College and his career there. Soft move or boss move? Yelling your small college stats at LeBron James after an Eastern Conference Finals game.
Boss move.
Yes.
Because that means you put in some work regardless. Here's what people got to understand. It's only 4,000 people to ever play a basketball game in the NBA. That doesn't minimize the work that you probably put in high school or in a mural or AAU or club or college or small college or junior college or overseas. It all makes a difference. I'm glad he let it be known the work that he put in.
As am I. LeBron James said after the game, you have to have some adversity to be successful. Can you spin this as positive for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I can spin it as positive because of the things I just mentioned. One, when the game is close late, they can't do so much isolation basketball. Two, I've been talking about this all season. If it's 40 seconds to go in the game and the Cavs have the ball and it's a one-possession game, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to foul LeBron James. He doesn't have to be DeAndre Jordan. He doesn't have to be Andre Drummond. I'm going to foul LeBron James, who's a poor free throw shooter, and put myself in a position to control the 2-for-1 late.
That makes sense. Let's be honest, let's be real. Is the whole reason the Cleveland Cavaliers lost the game because Khloe and Kylie Kardashian were attending?
I would normally say, run! But she's been coming to games all season. And Tristan played well. Kevin Love played well. Kyrie Irving played well. Now, LeBron James, 1 point the last 19 minutes of the game, 6 turnovers, 11 total points, no points in the fourth quarter. Only the second time he's done that. The last time is when they got bounced by the Dallas Mavs in 2011. Really uncharacteristic performance by the King.
Paul Millsap has officially opted out of his contract with the Atlanta Hawks. Is there any chance he stays with the franchise?
There's a chance if they back up the Brinks truck and pay him maximum dollars. Being there all-star the last few years, absolutely. If the money's equal, I think he'll end up with another team.
After all that hubbub about Giselle saying that Tom Brady had a concussion and then Tom Brady saying he didn't, an investigation saying it didn't look like he did, Ben Roethlisberger is now saying that he was proud to self-report concussions when he had them. If you were an athlete in today's game, would you self-report head injuries to the franchise?
I would not, especially if I was getting guaranteed dollars and I didn't think it was fatal. It's one of the hazards that come with the job. Is this a forced football topic? Broken news, football players actually have head injuries.
Yep. Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
Kevin Durant had this response to a criticism about all the blowouts in the NBA Finals, and he said, quote, "If you don't like it, don't watch it." Do you think that this year's NBA playoffs has been boring due to so many blowout games?
Oh, I get tired of this low-hanging fruit argument from media members and certain fans that act like they haven't been watching NBA basketball the last 71 years and seeing the Celtics and the Lakers win 50% of the championships. Newsflash, dynasties exist in the NBA. You ever heard of the Celtics and their 17 championships? What about the Lakers and their 16?
Yep.
That's almost 50% of the total championships. Oh, by the way, the Bulls draft Michael Jordan, they get 6. The Spurs draft Tim Duncan, they get 5. Kobe Bryant gets 5 in LA, Shaq gets 4 overall. It happens in the NBA. Dynasties do exist. The playoffs have been scintillating. Did you watch John Wall? Did you see Isaiah Thomas?
Yes.
Did you see Greek Freak? Did you see Russell Westbrook?
Yes.
These things happen. Now, some injuries have been major. Rajon Rondo, Blake Griffin, Rudy Gobert, Kawhi Leonard. A lot of major players have gotten injured, and now Isaiah Thomas.
That's exactly my point. We will not remember the first round matchups. We will not remember the blowout games. We will remember this finals between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors forever. You'd be hard-pressed to come up with the big games, the triple overtime games in last year's playoffs, but you will remember every details of the finals, and that is how this year's playoffs will be remembered as well. They will be especially interesting because Kevin Durant has joined forces with a team that he went 7 games against last year with the Warriors, and he told the Undefeated that he 100% made the right decision. What does that tell you that he is so confident about this and putting it on wax?
Who are we to judge? That he's not just judging. It tells me that he's not just judging his decision slowly on individual accolades, because he didn't make All-NBA. He's not going to be MVP, and they haven't won the championship just yet. So for him to feel like he's made the quality decision means that he enjoys playing basketball with a collection of group. He enjoys playing basketball with his teammates. He enjoys living in the Bay Area, and he appreciates the opportunity that they have this season, and he's looking forward to the future.
I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos, and I really think he would enjoy living in the Bay Area a lot more if he built a fence around his outdoor basketball court. That's all I have to say. Because there's no fence around it. I'm sure he's losing a lot of balls. That has to be frustrating when you're shooting around by yourself with no rebounder. That's all I have to say about that. Now, there is some news about one of our colleagues. Your countdown brother, Chauncey Billups, is there with you in San Antonio now, but may very soon be meeting with some important executives from the Atlanta Hawks organization about filling the general manager role. If he uses you as a reference, what would you tell them when they called and asked?
He has a terrific resume as a player, and he's accomplished so much on every level. He has a knack for talent and also the ability to break down the game. He's a really hard worker. He's disciplined. I think he'll do a really good job. I hope he gets a great opportunity.
Paul Milsap is on wax. He's saying he has officially opted out and he is a free agent in the National Basketball Association. Do you think he will stay with those Atlanta Hawks?
If they're going to back up the Brinks truck and pay him a lot more money than any team can or should, yes. But if the money is comparable, I would not be surprised if Paul Milsap is playing elsewhere next year.
Interesting. Well, we wish Chauncey the best and hope Paul Milsap gets paid. There's been some interesting reports. First, it was Gisele Bündchen just innocently on a CBS morning show saying that Tom Brady had a concussion last year. Then there was an investigation. The NFL said there was no information about him getting a concussion. And now Ben Roethlisberger is on wax saying that he did self-report a concussion in his career, and he's very proud of that. You played in the NBA for years. Would you self-report a head injury in today's game?
Is this a forced football topic? Let me get this right. Football players have concussions and stingers. No.
Yes.
Is this some kind of holiday I don't know nothing about? No, I wouldn't report it. I would do exactly what they do. I'm not trying to be on the injury report. That affects your checks. When you walk in and try to negotiate it, like, you know what, you had a concussion in 2004, you had a stinger in 2006, you bumped your head in 2009, you know what, we're going to dock your pay. It's one of the hazards that come with the job.
That's a really good point. I never thought that they would affect the bottom line like that. I would probably not self-report a concussion either, but no one's asking me. Then there's this. Kristaps Porzingis did not have an exit interview with the New York Knicks franchise. A little bit of a weird move, but things were very weird around that franchise at that time, if you think back. Now there's a report that Phil Jackson had a meeting with Kristaps Porzingis' brother, Giannis. I've actually met Giannis. Giannis is not just his brother. Giannis is also an agent with the same agency that Kristaps is with. He was a professional basketball player himself in Europe. He's sort of like a mentor, a sort of like father figure away from his father type of figure in his life. This meeting did not go well, and now there is a report that the Knicks have decided not to renew the contract of Kristaps' favorite assistant coach. What is happening with the Knicks?
I want to tell something to Phil Jackson that he probably hasn't heard in a while. Sit down. Be humble. Kristaps Porzingis is the best thing the Knicks have going for themselves currently and in the future. I know Carmelo Anthony's a 20-plus point scorer. He's actually going to be in the Hall of Fame one day wearing a New York Knickerbocker jersey. And Knicks fans hate when I say that for some strange reason. I just kind of like to throw it out there because it's true. You have a 7-foot player that can make threes, defend at the rim, that has unlimited potential. You drafted him, you nurtured him. You have to find a way to make that work. You're not coming into the office with your 11 championships as a coach and your 1.5 as a player because he wasn't playing for one of those when they won 2. With that being said, and trying to dictate some terms for a guy that just saw you go to the lottery basically every year and not have a lot of success. You have to find a way to make it work with his brother. You have to find a way to make it work with that coach. For you to fire that coach, when you do things like that, you have a player on their main source. They start looking at the front door.
Well, finally there's this, Jalen Rose. The NBA's official Twitter account tweeted out a picture of Amy Schumer and an NBA fan. At least that's how they captioned the photo. The NBA fan was Dave Chappelle. I think this was intentional and it was a joke. Do you think that they tweeted this picture of Amy Schumer and a fan that was actually Dave Chappelle intentionally?
How about this? I don't think it was intentional, but if it was intentional, it's a bad joke.
It's not a good joke. That's a good point.
Here's why. Because you have to acknowledge both parties because they're both equally successful. They both have major followings, and they're both there to support the Cleveland Cavaliers. And also, if you're the NBA's handle, you want them actually to possibly retweet it or support it. If you don't add him, he's not going to give the tweet any love.
Dave Chappelle just pointed at his $50 million he got from Netflix and said, by the way, Jalen, me and Amy Schumer are not equally successful.
Nope. Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Jalen Rose, you are a retired athlete. You are also an active DJ. Joining your ranks as both of those things, Tony Romo. He DJ'd a charity party last night. He looked pretty comfortable in the ones and twos. My question is, do you think he will get a check first from being a DJ or a quarterback?
You must not know what it's like to be an independent contractor. He got a check to do the gig you saw. A lot of times...
No, it was for charity.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people always talk about them spending their time and giving back to the community. What they don't usually tell you is how much they're getting paid. And if he didn't get paid, then I stand corrected. I still answer the question being a DJ versus playing quarterback because the NFL season starts in September, and the only way he'll get a check to be a quarterback if something happened to Dak.
That's fair. He was heard playing Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. Would you play Living on a Prayer if you were DJing?
Absolutely. The quality of a DJ is playing what the audience wants to hear. It's almost like an artist has to find a line between recording a song and or a record that they like or one that they know that the public's going to appreciate. Same thing with being a DJ. If you don't have people's heads nodding, it doesn't matter what you're playing.
No. All weekend long, all anyone could do was sit and stare at their phones and watch a Canadian sea lion drag a young girl into the ocean. And then watch her father heroically jump in and save her from the sea lion. Jalen Rose, you recorded this video on one of your phones while recording it with your other phone and texted it to me, as you do sometimes. Why were you so excited about the sea lion?
I was so excited about the video because of the heroics of her dad and also how a traumatic situation was averted. I mean, here's a young lady. She's sitting on the ledge. Obviously, I think it was negligent, and allegedly they were feeding the wild sea lion, which is something you shouldn't do. But I appreciated how her dad didn't hesitate, sprung into action, and went and saved his young daughter.
Yeah. I appreciate that as well, but I also want to see this from the SEAL's perspective, and I think that you'll respect this. The young girl was sitting on the ledge of the water so she could be in a photo with the sea lion. One thing I know about Jalen Rose, loves statues, hates it when people take pictures of him without asking permission. Yeah. Do you think the sea lion was just reacting because they were taking pictures of him without his permission? Yeah.
That is very fair, because I talk about it all the time, how somebody might just walk past and try to snap a picture like I'm an animal at the zoo. I get your point exactly.
Yeah. Let's imagine that you were not that young girl's father. Matter of fact, you didn't even know her. That was just a strange young girl. If the sea lion dragged her into the water and you did not know her, she was not on your phone, you didn't know her parents, she was just a stranger, would you jump in and try to save her?
And I respectfully say this. It's always important as you get older, especially when you look into the mirror, you don't see your representative. You don't see your agent. You see yourself for exactly who you are, and you know your strengths and weaknesses.
It's a sea lion.
So there are two hazards at play here. One, I can't swim. Two, I'm clearly going to be scared of a sea walrus. And three, I'll do something that allows me to stay in my lane. Help! Ah! Help! I'll call 911. I'll kick and scream. I'll try to even hit it with my bat if I have it available. But jumping in, not going to be able to do it.
I think I would jump in, but I would definitely take my phone out of my pocket first. You know what I mean? Like, I'm jumping in, but I'm taking my phone out of my pocket, putting it right there. No, you know what I'm going to do? Taking my phone out of my pocket, handing it to someone who's watching and being like, record video of this in case I do something heroic, and then I'm jumping in. And make sure that they film it horizontally, or vertically, not horizontally, for social media. Staying in the Wild Kingdom, I made sure you saw this video because it touched me emotionally. I'm not really sure how. There is a one-eyed goat in India. Does the one-eyed goat freak you out?
It didn't freak me out. It kind of makes me sad because we all have things that when we look in the mirror, we wish we're better, wish we were in better shape, we wish our ear was different, wish our nose was different, wish our eyebrows were different, wish our arms was different, our chest, our legs, our stomach. We all feel that way. But at some point, when you start to feel a level of sense of security about who you are and strength and discipline, it allows you to thrive in life. And that's what I saw with this animal. You know, it's not the most attractive. You know, it only has one eye. You know, it has a fog light on its forehead. But you know what? It's still finding a way to create happiness in its own world.
Yeah. Jalen Rose, you are a much better person than I am. Big shout to that one-eyed Indian goat. Your man, Calvin Johnson,
Megatron,
said that he did not like the way that he was treated by the Lions organization. How did you feel when you heard that the Lions had alienated their second superstar in the history of the franchise?
They have to find a way to repair that relationship. Here's a player that's the all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. If you're the Detroit Lions, you have to find a way to repair that relationship. And it got a lot uglier when they forced him to pay back 10% of the $3+ million that he retired during his contract. And so when you're writing that $300,000 check back to a team that you played for so very long, that will create some bitter feelings.
I understand that. Jalen Rose, your man Jim Harbaugh, the Kanye West of college football, was visiting a farm, just doing what Jim Harbaugh does, and he helped birth a baby calf. What? If you were there and they told you, Jalen Rose, all you have to do is birth this baby calf, and it will guarantee a national football championship for the Michigan Wolverines, would you do it?
It's a shame what happened to that calf.
As I assumed. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail, and then we'll play it on the show just like this.
What up, though? This is Nick coming at you from Planet Earth. I had a question from Jacoby. Whenever you get a voicemail saying that you get the people what they want in their person, do you ever have the feeling that that's actually a kangaroo in disguise? Let me know.
Oh, wow, that man just broke my brain. You know what? The answer to that question is no. I never got that feeling that when someone identifies themselves as a person, that they're actually a kangaroo. But now that you've mentioned it, I will listen a little closer. Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. Let's listen to another voicemail.
What up, though, Jalen and Jacoby? You got Joel from the D. Man, I woke up on this fine Monday morning, going to work, 6 a.m., car gets stolen. I'm just asking for y'all to give me a shout-out.
Shout-out?
Just tell everybody in the Kalamazoo area, 269, to be on the lookout for a gold Ford Escape, Texas license plates. Sticks out, Texas. I'm in Michigan. Shout out to y'all. Keep giving the people what they want.
He sounded so sad, Jalen. He sounded so sad.
I understand why. He walked out there to go get in his vehicle. There's two places that it gets tricky when people start to interrupt your schedule. One at the airport, because you're clearly going somewhere or coming from somewhere. And or two, when you're going out to your ride, you wake up, you wash up, you get dressed, you do everything you gotta do, you walk out like, where's my whip, where's my car? But you know what I like about our show? We're putting out an APB for his vehicle, and that's why we give the people what they want.
There can only be so many vehicles in the Kalamazoo area with Texas plates. Have you ever went to the parking lot and be like, oh, someone stole my car. It finally happened, someone stole my car, and then realized that you just forgot where you parked it?
I have not had my car stolen, but I've had it towed. And that is the same exact feeling.
That's fair. Next question that we have is from Raymond. It's from Twitter. Raymond wants to know, soft move or boss move, driving your dad's hand-me-down minivan while in college? Obviously a boss move.
Well, since we have somebody on this show that's an expert, he can clearly answer that and answer that quick.
Driving anything in college is a boss move. Driving a golf ball in college is a boss move. If you can keep gas in the tank while you're in college, then you are making a boss move. It is that simple. Not a boss move, paying for gas and change. I can't say I've never done that before. Just be like, here's 8 quarters. Let me just fill up as much of the tank that I can. Thank you so much for the tweet. This is from AK, Jalen. Given LeBron's comment, Jalen, did you ever feel like certain media members were against you or disliked you?
Yes, that happens throughout your career, high school, college, and or pro. There are people that write things you don't like. There are people that ask questions that you're not fond of. I didn't think that he acted in an outstanding or rude fashion. I just think that he acted in a confrontational fashion, and we don't know the intimacy of their relationship if actually he only comes to ask a question when they lose. But here's what I will say. It's the only time they lost. So if that's the case, then he ain't been there all the time.
Yeah, he's not working that hard. That's probably what it is.
Right. Here's the thing. So I would think that this isn't the only game he's been to.
No. It was interesting. LeBron accused him of only asking questions after losses, and his response was about how many games he had attended, not necessarily about how many games he had asked questions at. Something tells me that Mr. James is going to be right on this one. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail here on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, what's happening? This is Gary from the 203 on the check-in. Reg, I love how you ended the show yesterday, but you left something out. And how long would it take, Reg, if you played the theme song to Power, that Jalen would just absolutely lose his mind? It's a big rich town, out the tallest town. Now, here in the Nutmeg State, I am the self-proclaimed best UPS guy in the tri-state area. I know Big Crown has the best mailman in the nation on lock. I'm hoping you guys can reach out and let me know if I got the best UPS guy title on lock in the nation. I got a boss move or soft move for you guys. Ride-on lawnmower. Boss move or soft move? It takes me 3 hours to cut the grass. I think it's time for me to step up my game and get a ride on and knock that grass out in a half hour. And give me more time to enjoy the summer, enjoy the pool, adult beverages, a little badminton, maybe a little cornhole. Jalen, what's cornhole? Reach out, fellas. Keep on giving the people what they want. Shout outs.
That guy listens to the show. That guy listens to the show. As far as I'm concerned, that is the greatest UPS deliverer in the history of the United Postal Service. That's it. He owns that title until he is usurped, but somebody tells me he will not be usurped. There was a lot to unpack in that voicemail. One thing that never goes unnoticed, if you compliment Reggie will select the voicemail for the show, okay? That's one thing I've noticed is pretty consistent, okay?
Drop.
Number 2, I did like his boss move or soft move. I think that there's a variable that really moves the needle on this one towards boss move or soft move. And, of course, I'm talking about the ride-on lawnmower. The size of your yard. If you have a gigantic yard, then a ride-on lawnmower is a boss move. If you have a small yard that you could probably do in less than an hour, then it's a soft move. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
I agree. And also, I would go crazy if the Power theme song was played. I'm looking for the new episodes to start July 7th. I am so very excited.
I never took a straight path nowhere. Life's full of twists and turns, bumps and bruises.
Jalen Rose is now courtside in San Antonio, dancing like a fool in his chair to music that no one can hear but him. Someone right now is filming this on their phone, and they will certainly upload it to the internet, so make sure that you search for that. And then finally, he did ask this question, our UPS driver from the Nutmeg State. He said, Jalen, what is cornhole?
I'm not sure. I don't have an educated thing to say about that.
Skins, Wiz, Caps, Nats tweeted us this. Paul George to the Wizards, your thoughts. It could happen. Don't judge me.
Paul George is under contract with the Indiana Pacers. You're going to hear a lot of talk about his next destination. On paper, you like him with John Wall and Bradley Beal. But he's such an elite player, you're going to hear multiple deals that sound good for him. We just got to sit back and let it play out.
That's fair. Let's listen to one last voicemail.
Hey, fellas, it's Dylan from Sydney, Australia here. Got to use those international minutes. Shout out to my boys Ryan and Jacko, getting me on this podcast. Great fellas. Listen, I had a question to Jacoby. You often cite Reddit as a place that you get your information from, but the subreddit for Jalen Jacoby is dead. Is there any way that we can revive this? Come on, listeners, let's get into it. Thanks.
Oh, man, that just made me a little sad. First of all, it made me so happy to have international listeners. I love our Australian listeners the most. Not only do they speak English, they also are our frontline defense against the impending kangaroo apocalypse. They are those soldiers. They're like the Marines. They are boots on the ground defending the rest of the species from the kangaroos that are rising up to take us down. However, I didn't know there was a Jalen Jacoby subreddit. We do need to try to breathe some life into the Jalen Jacoby subreddit. So perhaps just mentioning it here and encouraging people to go to the Jalen Jacoby subreddit, get it active. I will be there just trolling it, looking for information. I might even post on there once in a while just to try to stoke the flames. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to Jalen Jacoby on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby
Thank you.
Podcast.
You're far too kind.